Hi, I'm Nancy Blotner. At Caldwell University, we believe that all citizens should be informed about the important issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the CAUCUS Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Virtua, the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, Caldwell University, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities, community education centers, and by MAGNACARE.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. The crowd behind us, 500 strong for the 33rd annual Tri-County Scholarship Fund dinner. I'm honored, blessed really, to have the opportunity to host this event once again. I did it last year. I got to tell you, great group of people coming together to raise money for a cause. The cause is to help inner city young people. Young people who come from families who could not afford to go to parochial schools. So the parents put in a third, the school puts in a third, and the Tri-County Scholarship Fund puts in a third. A lot of the money is raised at an event here tonight. They're honoring tonight Bill O'Reilly from Fox News. They're honoring two wonderful nuns. They are sisters, Sister Joanne Papa and Sister Patricia Pampa. And you're going to hear from two wonderful speakers, two high school students who represent all the students who, in fact, have won scholarships this year and every other year. It's a wonderful event. Tri-County Scholarship Fund's been doing this for 33 years, raised millions and millions of dollars. Thousands of young people have been able to go to school because of this organization. You're going to meet some very special people over the next half hour who are making a really big difference. We're here with Bill O'Reilly, who clearly needs no introduction, the special honoree tonight. Bill, an educator before you became an award-winning journalist. Talk about these kids and talk about this organization and why being honored is so important to you.
Well, it's not so much being honored, it's trying to help children who need help. I mean, obviously, public school system today, it's very, very tough. If you don't have good parents and you live in a poor neighborhood, you come in behind everybody else. And then you fall further and further behind, you get disillusioned. So we need to, fix that. And organizations like this do that. It's an organization that targets children at risk, helps children with potential, understands the situation entirely. It's not an assembly line. So that's why I'm here.
And finally, these children, you'll be hearing them, we'll all be hearing them tonight speak. What do you think their future could be potentially with these scholarships in terms of where they might be going?
Every human being is born with special talents. The problem is that if you are not in a good home and you're in a bad environment, it's harder to develop the talents than if you're a rich kid. So the mandate here is to get the children, to convince them they do have special talents and are unique, and to give them a positive experience. So that's why I'm here.
Finally, you get asked all the time, not just to speak, but to be honored. It's no secret. Any particular reason with this organization? I know you have some connection with there's a friend who is on the board as well.
I do a lot of work for children all over the country and the world too. And when I see a good organization that makes children's lives better and has tangible results, you can see the results, then I'm going to help them if I can. If you try, and when you fall, if you get up, America will give you the opportunity to succeed.
You may wonder how this whole idea of the Tri-County Scholarship Fund started. The gentleman on my left, Ed Hennessy, was one of the key players in making that happen. Ed, what need did you see and what did you do to deal with that?
I had moved in from Hartford, Connecticut, where the bishop up there had asked me if I would head up fundraising to keep the high schools alive. I was approached by Bishop Rodima. The bishop got a letter from Archbishop John Whalen suggesting he meet me. And at that meeting, Bishop Rodheimer said he'd like to start something to keep the schools alive. And so I had a little experience with it, and we started, and I said to Bishop Rodheimer, I said, we'll get a group together. Every meeting we have, you have to attend. The minute you don't, we don't have, I'll be out. And to his credit, he attended every single meeting. And we started with a $50,000 dinner, and it cost us $54,000 to put it on. So I decided I was embarrassed. I paid for it myself. From then on, though, the thing grew, and we went out and visited a number of families where the only alternative to public education was the parochial schools. And we didn't care whether they were a Catholic or Jewish or whatever they might be, but we want to give them an opportunity. And I found out, too, the parents were willing to give up a lunch or a dinner to pay for part of it.
So they had some skin in the game.
They had skin in the game, every one of them. And as you can see, the thing grew, and I don't know how much we've collected in all those years, but I know it's over $20 million, so we're very, very fortunate.
You know, by background, Ed Hennessy, Chairman Emeritus of Allied Signal, now Honeywell, I mean, an incredible corporate background and has raised millions of dollars for all kinds of causes. Before I let you go, what makes this cause so special?
To give these kids a shot, getting them out of school with a decent, half-decent education, or the decent education, getting them into college, giving them a shot at life. Otherwise, they'll never escape that ring of poverty that they're in right now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hennessy.
Thank you.
We're here with our good friend Barb Chodos from NJ Advanced Media. Barb, we've talked a long time. Actually, you were the one who made the initial call to us and said, hey, wait a minute, these Tri-County people are for real. They do important things. Why did you get so involved and so excited about them?
Well, Tri-County was actually the best kept secret, and being with NJ.com and the Star Ledger, we really wanted to help get the message out. What they do for these kids and the scholarships that they raise, a lot of people didn't know this, so we really helped them get the word out. And in fact, even helped by having you MC the event. If you remember, I actually
one of the first. I didn't even know about them, and I went to Catholic schools growing up. But let me ask you this. Talk about what it's like. I mean, you'll meet some of the students who are going to be receiving scholarships. Will be speaking tonight. What was it like the first time you heard those kids?
Well, very emotional. In fact, I had my son with me, and I think it was the first time I've seen my son cry. And it really hit hard how fortunate all of us are and what these kids go through and their stories. Every year, I've been attending this now for several years, I still get very, very choked up.
They deserve a chance, don't they?
Absolutely. And I think what you'll see the appreciation, and when they come back and even help other students, I think that's even more rewarding because they realize how important it was that this scholarship helped them in their lives.
We're here with our friend Linda Bowden from PNC Bank. Linda and I have had conversations both on the air and public television, as well as, you know, having lunch and talking about kids and education a lot. Your background in education, you understand what a lot of young people face. Particularly in urban areas, what do you believe, what do you know a lot of these young kids face, and why would such a scholarship be so incredibly important to them?
Well, you know, a lot of these kids are their first generation, or they themselves were born elsewhere. They've come to this country with language issues. English is not something that came easily to them. This gives them a chance. You know, we're all working on our inner city schools. We're all hoping that those schools succeed, but there are challenges there. And so through this organization, through the Tri-County Scholarship Organization, these kids have an opportunity. And it's very exciting to see that, Steve.
Let's talk about the Tri-County Scholarship Fund. I mean, Greg Floyd and the other folks here who run this organization, it's such a wonderful thing. I mean, I've said often that I'm a product of Catholic schools in the city of New York, Essex Catholic High School, which doesn't even exist anymore. So many Catholic schools have such a difficult time from a financial point of view. What does it mean to these students, sister, to receive a third of their scholarship, a third of their tuition coming from this scholarship fund?
Well, obviously, it gives them an opportunity to continue education. The greatest thing we can give our children is an education, and I think the children at St. Gerard's especially have been the recipients of those awards. And you can't find a better way to spend money than to spend it on educating young people. That's the future, not only of the world, but of the church.
Sister, talk about your students so people really understand. Who are these students, and what do these scholarship dollars truly mean to them and their future?
My students at St. Gerard's are the shining stars. Shining stars because they love coming to school. They have real hardworking parents, but many of them financially now are in straits. They can't afford to continue sending their children to Catholic school. However, with the support of Tri-County, our guardian angels that we call them, they have...
Call them guardian angels?
That's because they keep our children, they take care of our children and they provide for our children, help our families who are struggling. And many of our parents are single parents also. And when they go home and they tell the children, I'm sorry, you can't come to our school because we can't afford it, the children cry. So the parents say, Sister, what can you do to help us? I don't want to take them out because of the Catholic environment that they have, the safe environment they have, and the love and care that they receive every day. And so I call up Tri-County and say, is there any way you can help us? And by this help that so many people have given us, these children are able to continue Catholic education.
Two of the students who will be speaking, representing all of the students receiving the Tri-County Scholarship Awards. I have to tell you, two very special students. We have Genesis Pena, who is a senior at DePaul Catholic in Wayne, and we also have Christian Alvarado, who is a senior at DePaul Catholic in Wayne as well. Tell folks who may not understand what this scholarship means to you and your educational future.
The Tri-County Scholarship has been a stepping stone to my success. It is because of that I've been able to attend an excellent educational institution where I can advance and become the best that I can be.
Now, talk about that a little bit. Talk about your neighborhood. And for a lot of folks you may not know, and this is not in any way disparaging public schools. I mean, I grew up in the city of Newark. People have choices to make, and sometimes if they choose to go to a parochial school, you may or may not have the dollars. For you and your family, that was a choice you made.
Well, I live in a resident city. I live in Paterson, New Jersey. And in order to become the best of the best, I needed to go beyond. I need to reach the sky and go farther than the limits.
Could your family afford it?
Not without the help of the Tri-County Scholarship Fund. They've helped me tremendously throughout my 4 years of high school.
What's it done for you? Those dollars and the education.
Well, yes, it's made it easier for me to attend school. It's been a wonderful experience. It's helped me tremendously.
Talk a little bit about, before I move to your colleague, talk a little bit about what your plans are after high school.
Well, after high school, I wish to be working either in Disney Studios or in Pixar Studios, creating animated movies. So don't be surprised if you see one of my movies in the movie theaters with your kids.
Really, that's the plan?
Yes, that's the plan.
Studying what particular area?
Animation and illustration, digital media, graphic design. I want a BFA in the arts, fine arts.
All right, here we go. Christian, can you top this? First of all, tell folks, no, don't feel the pressure. Tell folks a little bit about what this scholarship means to you and your family.
The scholarship it allows me to achieve my fullest potential. People don't understand that it's not something that just happens. Getting an education is not, though it should be, it's not a default. We don't automatically get it, we have to work for it. And it really helps that we can get some help in that. It really means so much.
What would your family do if you weren't able to get this scholarship and the dollars were not in place? What do you think you would be doing academically?
It's tough to say. I wouldn't be where I was right now.
You don't feel that way?
No. I feel like it absolutely helped. I wouldn't be as privileged as I am, as honored as I am.
You feel privileged?
I feel loved. I love it. I feel like people actually care about education and the students and how the future is going to wind up.
Talk about what your future is, what you plan for your future to be academically moving forward from DePaul?
Well, I'm an artist, but I have many, many interests. I'm very ambitious. I love forensic science and psychology, and I don't know if I'm going to be the next Michelangelo or the Sherlock Holmes or Jean Piaget, but I can guarantee that after college, whatever I do will be good. I will dedicate my life to serving others with my potential, my goodness.
You're excited about your future, aren't you?
Absolutely.
You're excited about yours and his, right?
Of course.
I want to say one simple, heartfelt word. Grateful. I am so grateful for all your support and love, and not just for me, but for all the students here tonight and the hundreds of younger ones who are home in bed. Without your help, we wouldn't be here, attending the wonderful private schools that we do. Schools that gave us an excellent education and opened the doors to the future for us.
We're here with one of the really talented, terrific young people who spoke tonight, one of the two. This is Manny Lopez, a senior at Morris Catholic High School in Denville. First of all, I want you to introduce your parents here tonight who are so proud. They're beaming. They're so happy. Talk about them.
This is my father, Mauricio Lopez, and my mother, Maria Lopez. They both came here from Colombia. My father is a self-employed tax advisor. He helps a lot with the Hispanic community in Dover. My mom works at SBM for Johnson & Johnson. That's them.
Yeah, that's them. Let's talk about you before I talk to your parents. When you spoke tonight, you moved a lot of people. Talk about what the scholarship means to you and your future.
In the future, I think it really did change me as a person. Seeing how much they helped me, it made me kind of want to help others more. It made me really grateful for what I have. It made me focus more on the positive, all those helping me instead of everything I don't have. It really did change my life, definitely for the positive, and I'm just very fortunate to be impacted by that.
Mr. Lopez, when you saw your son speaking up there tonight, you know how hard he works, you know how hard you and your wife have worked to see him succeed so much, or to this degree. What were you feeling when you heard him speak?
Like a dream coming true, because I was working for his future, and right now I can see my dream coming in something real, because I can see my son in a good way, and he's doing good. I'm very, very proud of him. I'm so happy, and I'm very, very proud of him.
We are here with the chairman of the board of Tri-County. I got to ask you, Tim, you've been to a few of these, but you never lose your enthusiasm and your passion for these kids, their families, and the cause, because?
It's just the greatest gift. I mean, to be able to help kids, Steve, like this, who, you heard these two speakers tonight, these kids have so many great dreams, and they want the same things, and it's just a joy to see it all come to fruition. I mean, I wish we got hundreds of kids that we can't support. So for the two that you saw up here, there's many more like that we can't support. So it's why I'm so enthusiastic. It's just, we're saving lives.
Tim is talking about the two young people who spoke tonight in front of these 500 plus supporters of this great organization. And again, we spoke to those folks, those two young people, and they're so eloquent, they're so powerful, and their futures are brighter, aren't they? Because of this.
Not only are they brighter, but they appreciate what's been done for them. And you heard with Genesis tonight, Genesis says, I look forward to the opportunity where I can do this. I mean, they're also learning in this process. So their futures are brighter, and frankly, they've learned that they can overcome anything because their life has put so many hurdles in front of them. And most of our kids, these two are just two examples. They have hurdles, and they become stronger as a result of this.
We're here with Quinton Murray, one of the many supporters of Tri-County. He's been a trustee for how long?
It's been about 20 years now, Steve.
Why?
Well, I had to get involved. A neighbor of mine about 20 years ago said, listen, you know, Tri-County could use some help. It's a great cause. Why don't you come to the dinner? Went to the dinner, heard these kids speak, and was just, I got to tell you, I was choked up.
What hooked you?
You know, the fact that, you know, here's kids who are really starting behind the 8 ball, and when given a chance and a great education and a little discipline, these kids can prosper. And that resonated with me, and I'm here and have been ever since.
What do you think faces some of these kids who may not be able to get these scholarships, and how much does that move you?
it moves us tremendously because, you know, when I look at what these kids are up against every single day, sometimes their home environment isn't what it's supposed to be. And I think that a Catholic school gives them the refuge to kind of have a good education, to not have to worry about some of the things that go on in their life outside of school. And it also gives them discipline. One of the most rewarding things for us is on an evening like tonight, when we come here and we see some of the kids that have been given the opportunity and what they've done and how thankful they are. So from our perspective, it really helps all those kids.
One of the trustees here tonight who we're honored to have is Tom Healy with the Tri-County Scholarship Fund, former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Domestic Finance. Tom, what do you hope for these kids, their future?
I hope to give them an opportunity. They've got to take advantage of it. They get coaching. They get coaching. I'll tell you one small story. There's a friend of mine who's a faculty member at Harvard named Dick Light, who several years ago wrote a book called How to Make the Most Out of College. It is based on interviews with Harvard students of how to be effective, how to relate to a teacher, how to take advantage of a class, how to think about your scheduling. And I give all the Tri-County kids that as a graduation gift when they graduate, because virtually all of them, they're the first generation in their family to be going to college. They don't have parents or aunts or uncles or older brothers, and to try to give them some of the advantage that the rest of us have, so that they're going to do it. But what we're trying to do, what Meg and I would love to try to do, is to increase their chance to maximize the opportunity.
We're here with Paul Boudreau, who heads up the Morris County Chamber of Commerce, key supporter, big supporter of Tri-County Scholarship Fund. Why is it something the Chamber should be involved in?
Well, actually, I got involved because my former boss, Ed Hennessy, was a founder of Tri-County.
We just interviewed him. He was one of the founders with Bishop Rodheimer.
Exactly. And so I've been involved many years because Ed helped found Tri-County in 1980.
Kids are special.
Very special and important, and the future.
Since you do consulting in the field of helping nonprofits, and you know nonprofits well, what makes, I don't want to call it the pitch, but what makes the message of this organization so special?
Well, of course, it's the children, and just the ability for these kids to have an education with a school that they would not be able to afford otherwise, and for these children to be surrounded by caring, supportive people. I think it's just, that's the mission, and they do care, and they do help these kids, and these kids have a better chance because of the schools and the scholarship money.
Joe Spada, you're very committed to this organization. You're a member of the Board of Trustees. You know, we've heard from these young people already tonight. They've spoken. What do they represent to you?
They represent the future of our country, opportunity for other children like them that don't have the opportunities that, let's say, I'm fortunate enough to provide my children. And hope.
Hope for?
Hope for them, hope for their families, hope for their people in their community. And I grew up in East Orange in Newark, but I grew up in Central Ward in Newark, not the North Ward like you. So I had applied to Essex Catholic, St. Benedict's, and St. Seton Hall, but my father couldn't afford to send me. So I understand the difference between sort of the haves and the have-nots, and I've been fortunate in business to be financed in a place where I can send my kids to some of the best schools around, and I feel called to help out children that don't have the same opportunity.
Talk about your business now.
We have a financial planning wealth management business.
What do you think it means to these young people and their families to have an organization reach out and say, listen, if you have some skin in the game, you know, the school helps, you help with your family as best you can, but we'll step in at Tri-County Scholarship Fund. What do you think it means to these kids and their families, their parents?
I think it means, you know, to me it's sort of like you're a guardian angel to people that don't have anywhere else to turn for an opportunity. So I feel that myself and the other trustees and people that contribute are the guardian angels for these families that wouldn't be able to go to a good Catholic school and have a chance to get to the next level. So I feel blessed and I'm fortunate where I am. My father worked 7 days a week, wasn't hardest working guy I knew, but wasn't very successful financially. And he couldn't afford to do some of these things for us. But his work ethic inspired me, it worked out for me, and now with the benefits that we have, we feel called to help other people out. and be their guardian angel.
Bishop Rodheimer, you helped found this organization 30 years ago. What need did you see at the time?
I knew there were a lot of young people, and particularly in our cities, that wanted to have a Catholic education, simply could not afford it. And I knew that they deserved it, and I knew that there were people around who would support it if they had the means to do it, the mechanism to do it. So I asked Ed Hennessy, who was a CEO of Allied Chemical Corporation, because I knew he was a good Catholic, and I knew that he would be interested in Catholic education. So I asked for some thoughts from him, and he came up with this idea of Tri-County Scholarship Fund.
Did you ever think, I mean, we're here with over 500 people, millions of dollars raised, thousands of students being helped. Did you ever think it would have this kind of impact and be this big?
In a way, you know, I did. I had the idea that there are people that are generous, they have good hearts, and if we could get across the need, I'm sure, and I was sure, that there'd be people that would respond. And they did.
What do you see in the young people that you've been teaching, mentoring, coaching, spiritually advising for all these years? What do you see in these young people, particularly in Patterson and other cities you know well?
They have ideals, and they have dreams, and they have high aspirations that are not going to go anyplace unless there are people who believe in them and are able to communicate to them that they have dignity, they have an importance, that people need them and need the talents that they have. And if we can get that developed and we can build on their dreams and their aspirations, they're going to move and they're going to make progress.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Virtua, the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, Caldwell University, TSE&G, Community Education Centers, and by MAGNACARE. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger, powering NJ.com, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Some things were never meant to be cut. That's why when you have knee replacement at Virtua, we don't cut the quadriceps tendon. Because when it comes to getting you past chronic knee pain and on with your life, it's what we don't cut that counts. Visit GotMyLifeBack.org today.